Yeah, well, at least it ain't coming from forward of the camera.
Is it recording?
Yeah, okay.
All right, good. Hey, this is Todd, Red River Tactical and Outdoors, and I'm at the range today with...
Chris, from Regular Guy Training, because apparently I can't talk today.
So, we didn't script this at all. We just got done doing some drills, and we're going to talk about the Glock Gen 5 a little bit today. So I'm going to let Chris start out. He just got his 19 yesterday. I've had my 17 for about a week, and 3 mags short of 1,000 rounds to it. So I'm going to let Chris talk first.
I got the 19 because that's the only way to go. So says my wife, and I agree. Like, I was about to get the 17, and I was weighing pros and cons between, like, my wife and freaking my buddy Josh, and they were just kind of like, so it shoots better. Why? You have 10,000 Glock 19 mags, so they talked me out of it. I've had this guy, like, I don't even have sights I want on it. I've had it, we shot, like, what, maybe a couple hundred rounds worth of pistol today?
Probably, yeah.
So,
somewhere around there.
Yeah. The overarching thing that I've got so far from this pistol, and I've shot yours a bunch too, it's a Glock, but a little better.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
That's the end all from this whole thing.
So if you look at my previous video, I went through all the changes. I counted like 26 changes. A lot of the people out there giving reviews on this gun is not breaking them down and looking inside. And that's where most of the changes are coming from, is the internals of the gun. And I think that's where most of the improvements are coming from. You can see this gun here, it's kind of dirty, so we hadn't been taking it easy on them at all on these first 1,000 rounds. I got the 17, and you can see this gun's empty, so I'm not going to shoot anybody. But I got the 17 because it was the only gun available at the time. I would have got the 19, but I like the 17. I do like the palm swell. Putting that on there, it keeps your thumb back away from that slide lock. These slide locks are extended out more than the previous gen models, but I don't really see that it's a problem. Do you?
There are some people that are whining about how it's not fitting in Glock holsters and stuff, and
it's fine in mine.
I don't know how. I do notice that it does push on the holster a little bit, like the little wing in here.
Right.
Gets pushed out a little bit more versus like a Gen 4, which will be flush, but no effort.
Looks good to me.
It just goes in there and comes out. Like, so it's not really a big deal. What I have noticed though as a lefty is that I'm not unloading my gun, but I'm also not shooting anybody. So, is that I ended up getting the large back strap put on, because as a lefty I was used to like really getting in real tight on the frames, and that would start just because I'm a lefty and I'm used to right-handed Glocks, I would start to inadvertently keep the slide from locking in a rear on a last shot fired. So I would throw in a large back strap on there with the little beaver tail to back my thumb off just a little bit more, and then wing my thumb over on the grip so that I could get it to go to slide lock. I didn't have a single issue with that. I mean, you guys saw it when we shot it. And since then, there were no issues at all. Plus, I do like the fact that, you know, the back straps have a choice between beaver tail or not. So.
Yeah. And mainly, I just want to do this video because I hadn't had any issues out of my 800 and something rounds. And people say it's going to shoot like a Glock. Of course, it's a Glock gun. It shoots just like a regular Glock.
It's like an updated Civic, dude. It's not going to drive different.
Yeah.
Like.
And I mean, just basically, they removed the finger grooves. They rounded the end of the barrel, which, take it or leave it, I don't see.
Honestly, I think it makes being real here, I mean, I think it makes an ugly gun worse.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny how the more they quote advanced things, they just keep beating this gun with an ugly stick.
Yeah. Another complaint that I've seen on YouTube is this cutout. Yeah. This cutout right here. People are complaining, saying, oh, they just went back to the Gen 2 model with that cutout. And then there's complaints because, and I ain't going to mention names, but they're complaining because the pullout is here and not here to the side. No big difference to me. Do you think that's a huge difference there?
Hold on, we're going to do something.
Okay.
Check it out, right? There's people saying, oh, you should have cut the side for it and all that if you wanted to be able to strip it. But here's the thing. You didn't have any issues gripping this thing because there's some people complaining about the possibility of being pinched. I heard an equally ridiculous one saying, "Oh well, the corners on this cut are sharp." What? It's a pistol, man.
Yeah.
Big thing is, to me, it's just get over yourself.
Right.
And also, if the point of this is so that you can reach into both ends and get it ripped out if you have a Type 3. So, I mean, did it do its job? Yeah. Why are we whining?
And one thing, one thing that I really like about it being in the front is one-handed. You can hook that mag on that holster and rip out. With the cutout here and the extended base plate on the mag well, real good for one-handed manipulations.
So one-handed stuff.
That's right.
Okay.
So Glock Gen 5, I like it. What do you think about it?
I like it too. I mean, my principal complaint on the Glock, or on the Gen 5 Glock, is not the gun, it's people.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I agree.
that is the biggest complaint that I have, is that, like, look, I get it. This isn't a fucking space shuttle, it's a pistol.
Yeah.
Okay? What the quote revolutionary changes they made to the pistol, it's a selling point, man. That's obvious. Okay? The cuts for the holster, obviously that's overinflated because the old guns never had an issue with it at all.
No.
You know, in all honesty, if they just made a Gen 4 with removed finger grooves and called it good, I would have been fine with that too.
Yeah.
But overall, they didn't hurt the pistol.
No.
And to me, it's just people that piss me off about the new Gen 5 Glocks, because there's two camps. The guys that are equal to 1911 people, where they're just kind of like, this is the greatest thing ever, or people that just want to hate on new things because that's vogue. And in all honesty, it's get over yourselves.
Right.
It's a pistol. It drives like a pistol. It shoots exactly like every other Glock I've ever shot in my entire life. Okay.
And think about it this way: if you own a business and you got a customer base that's this big and says, "I want this on my product," and then you got another customer base that's this big wanting another thing on their product, then you got a customer base this big that says, "This is how it should be." You as a business person, which customer base are you going to try to please? You're going to try to please that wider majority of them.
And to me, it's like, Glock doesn't have just first world spoiled Americans to provide pistols to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay? Their target audience is not the Americas. Their target is the world.
Right.
Like, the world. So if you try to get the individual requirements from everybody, no. And also, if I were them, I would very much like to not dick up the reliability of one of the most reliable auto pistols on the face of the earth.
Exactly. You got the most reliable and the #1 selling in the Glock 19.
Like, and you can see the caution from them because they're afraid to go too far and screw it up.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so it's very
It's
incremental.
understandable. Yeah.
And all it really is, being real, all it really is it's the Glock you've shot forever plus a little, and that's about it.
And I really wouldn't want anything less or more than that. I mean, it's been fine up to now, so.
I mean,
Yeah.
front slide serrations is just kind of like,
That's looks for me. I would never use them anyway. So.
I mean, I press check every once in a while, but I've never had a problem not.
Yeah.
I never said to myself, oh, this is too slick.
Right.
And I've slipped off. There's a lot of people whining about the new finish on this slide too. I'm going to agree that it's completely unnecessary, that you didn't need to change the finish. But I've slipped off the slide of my own pistol more than this thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, slippery finish, stupid cut in the front. No, they dropped the ball.
What about the frame that don't match the cut? People complaining about that.
If your priorities center on the tiny piece of fingernail that you can set between the frame and the slide, if that is on your priority list over a gun that works, I don't need to know who you are, because I won't be friends with you. Okay, it's petty bullshit that people are just whining over and over about. So I don't get it.
And the other thing I wanted to mention is the plastic sights. The plastic sights, to me, I've said this on my previous video.
They are pretty shit.
They are, but I consider them to be a placeholder, because any gun I buy, whether it be Glock or anything else, first thing I do is replace the sights on it. So I'd rather pay $50 less for a gun with plastic sights that I'm going to change anyway. So I don't fault them for that. Some people might. If you're going to get out and shoot a lot like we do, you're going to get rid of those plastic sights or anyway. So
I personally don't like the plastic sights, and I guess this is just a preference thing, because in all honesty, it's like, what do I need in a set of sights? I need a set of sights that won't obscure my vision very well, that I can use in combination with a light, because you guys see, obviously, I carry a light on my gun.
Yeah.
Some guys don't, and I get it. So they'll be more apt to changing those out. But in all honesty, it's like, regardless to what set of sights I put on there and put in combo with a light anyway, even if they're tritium sights, they're gonna get washed.
Yeah.
So in all honesty, like they made these sights more angular, or more straight up and down rather than flared out than they did before. So I actually like them quite a bit more than I used to. And they're designed to have the top edge of the front sight post be where you cut a target in half and place a shot versus a dot. So personally, if they were metal sights, I would just black out the rear sight, stick the light on the gun, and call it good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so I understand why they have sight options now, but it's to fill that need. And a lot of gun companies will just be like, fuck you, you get this, and if you want to change it, you change it. I like the fact that they have options in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, guys that get the basic bitch gun and just want to replace the sights, and exactly what I just said, also irrelevant, because I'm putting a different set of sights on these too. You see what I mean? But because the sight options that they have are 3-dot type, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
But there's options for dudes that are cool with that and not. So it's like, what are we whining about? Really?
Right. One more thing I want to mention, I got wrong in the previous video. Glock did put a 1913 cutout on this rail, and that is the great thing. That's awesome. I like that. I'm glad they went away from the Glock rail. Now the lights you can take off your AR, put on your Glock, and it fits. So I like that part.
Yeah. This guy's opinion, Glock rail is stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid actually for a variety of reasons, and most of that is just pulling stuff off from point A to point B. I hate having to unbolt little itty-bitty bar inserts and stuff for the different types and all of that. And honestly, if they just went 1913 and made the Glock rail extinct, I'd be 110% okay with it.
Yeah, there's no telling how many of those little screws I've lost trying to bolt different rails to the lights.
I will say this, and I only find it like mildly relevant, because before it would usually take a little bit more time for me to get used to it and then work it in. But the factory trigger is, look, I'm not going to say it's a fantastic trigger.
Right.
It's not. But it's better than it was.
Yeah.
It's less annoying as shit to deal with.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on this channel.
It don't matter.
I did a few times already.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all
But it's better than it was. So, I mean, really, but that's the theme for this whole thing is, it's that, but better.
right.
Quit your bitching.
Yeah.
Like,
It is. It's an improvement, okay? Now, would I sell my Gen 4 just to buy a Gen 5? I probably wouldn't, but if I was going to buy another pistol, I would definitely get the Gen 5, in my opinion.
I mean, shit, my Glock 19's on its way out.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of rounds through that thing, to the point where I'm kind of waiting on the slide to crack so that I could put it on YouTube and be like, I finally broke it, and this is what it took to get there. So I needed a new one anyway, so I was kind of like...
Yeah. And they did remove that bump on the trigger bar from the Gen 4 to the Gen 5, so that made the trigger smoother instantly just by removing that bump.
See,
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. I just...
Yeah.
But...
So I want to thank Chris for doing this video. We've been out here for, what, 2 or 3 hours in 90-degree weather, running a lot of drills, and I know I am beat. But I thank you for taking time out doing this video with me.
Yeah, for
Appreciate
sure,
it.
man.
This is Todd, Red River Tactical Outdoors. Remind you to be safe, always be ready. Your closing.
Quit your bitching.
All right, thank you.